Somebody walks up to you and they say, "How are you today?" And your response is, "Fine." At least that's my response. Now, what we're talking about here is small talk. Now, when a person comes up to you and asks that question, typically they want to engage you in a short, brief, but meaningful conversation that we call small talk. And one word answers, "Fine," doesn't cut it with them because they don't understand that while they are concentric, we are eccentric. We're just not neurotypical. We are people with Asperger syndrome. We think differently. So, what is it about small talk? And I came up with 6 things. What is it about small talk that makes it so problematic for people with autism, high functioning autism? So, in addition to my 6 things, I'm guessing that maybe you have some other things that you can think of that didn't occur to me. So, feel free to share those with other people in the comments section. But number one is it's just disconcerting. It seems to me that people with Asperger syndrome, with autism, tend to be linear thinkers. We think in a line. Our brains are organized. And so we think orderly. But when somebody says, "How are you?" what happens is instantly, at least this happens to me, is that linear thinking, that organized thinking, scrambles. Now, if my mind is scrambled when I speak, my speech is also scrambled. So the best I can come up with is the word "fine." How you doing? Fine. How you doing? I'm okay. Now I've gone to 2 words. How you doing? I'm pretty good. How are you? Okay, now I managed to get out an entire sentence. But here's the problem with that. By the time I get to that entire sentence, the other person senses innately, because he or she has experienced an entire lifetime of small talk, they sense that there's something scrambled about the way this person talks. They're talking different. They're a little bit odd. And so the value of small talk is diminished because we are disconcerted. It's kind of like minding your own business and suddenly getting an electrical shock. That's what it's like when somebody approaches you to make small talk. So when I'm out taking walks or whatever and I see people, I try to avoid them, but I don't go way out of my way to do this. But I understand that people expect common courtesy, and so I try to at least get out one word. "Hey, how you doing?" Okay, that's 4 words. But I try to get out something. If nothing else, I'll give them a wave, I'll give them a thumbs up or something to acknowledge their presence so they'll understand that, this guy's stuck up. He just not in a talkative mood, maybe. That is the message that I'm sending. But yeah, it's very disconcerting. One word answers helps a lot, but even that can be telling. Number 2 is, this is important, by the way, but number 2 is, it's just not rewarding. Now, the whole idea behind small talk is that it is supposed to be socially rewarding. So you talk to other people, have a conversation with other people. It's not long. It's just, "Hey, how you doing?" Whatever. And that's socially rewarding to both parties. And it can grow from there. They say, "Oh, that's the guy I saw at the supermarket. We had a short conversation. Now we can have a longer conversation. Yeah, we're on the same wavelength." So you develop a social relationship because of that, but not so with people with Asperger syndrome. To us, it's just the opposite. Not only is it not rewarding, it actually lacks value. It actually hurts us. Because when we try to talk and our brains are scrambled, it gives the opposite effect. Rather than, "Okay, this is a person that I connect with," others will say, "This is a person that I cannot connect with. This person is eccentric. I'm concentric," thinking from the perspective of a neurotypical person. So I think I will avoid that person. That defeats the whole purpose of small talk. So it's best for us not to do it, but still, if we don't engage, then people think something else. They think we're aloof, stuck up, arrogant, whatever. So my solution is to at least give one word response. Say something. Now, this doesn't happen all the time, particularly if I get accustomed to people, get used to people. Then maybe the small talk can evolve and I can actually get out a little conversation that doesn't sound totally weird. Now, number 3 is sometimes, and maybe this is just me, but it's just a little bit invasive depending on what the conversation is. If somebody says, looks like it's going to rain or kind of hot out today, whatever, that's not invasive. That's just pointless, useless data that I can look up and I can see. I've got a computer, I can look up the weather, but that's not the point of talking about the weather. The point of talking about the weather is to make that social connection. That's what it's all about. Got nothing to do with the weather. But some people will ask, well, what's your name? Okay, what's your last name? Where do you live? What do you do for a living? Well, what did you do before you retired? And they just dig in. And my thinking is, that's none of their business. Now maybe I'm the only one who feels this way, but I really don't like to be drilled and grilled when someone starts talking to me, especially if it is someone that I don't know or don't know well. Yeah, it's actually not any of their business. So maybe I'm out of line on that, but I don't like to disclose a lot of personal information. Now, I found sometimes that if you ask those people the same questions, even the person that asked the question is reluctant to answer because they feel uncomfortable divulging personal information. Sometimes people say, what do you do for a living? I say, I'm a bum. I'm trying to be lighthearted, but that's a polite way, in my way of thinking, it's none of your business, but I'm not going to put it in those terms because that's offensive. Usually what happens when I do that doesn't always work. Sometimes they will press me. Oh, come on, you're not a bum. I can see you're driving a car. Bums don't drive cars. They may not say that, but it's kind of apparent. So that doesn't always work, but sometimes it gets me out of that invasive mode. Number 3 is there's something just very fake, or number 4 rather, there's something just very fake about small talk. I mean, we both know that we really don't care about the weather. There are exceptions to that. If you're out taking a walk and someone knows there's a thunderstorm coming and lightning, then they may say, there's a thunderstorm coming and lightning and you might want to get home. Okay, that's relative. But the problem with small talk to me is there's just something about it that's just not real. People really don't care. And that's because as a person with Asperger syndrome, I'm missing the point of small talk. It has nothing to do about exchanging information, usually. It has everything to do about making a social connection that can build and grow, which is something that I find extremely difficult. Sometimes, most of the time, just downright impossible. But still, as the sake of courtesy, I try. Okay, I got 2 more. These are kind of minor things, but they're worth mentioning. Number 5 is sometimes I just don't want to hear the noise. People with Asperger syndrome are sometimes sensitive to stimuli, noise stimuli, visual stimuli. And when somebody is talking and I've got my thoughts on track and they just broke into my thinking process, that noise is, it's annoying noise. That's not a big deal, but sometimes, it happens. So it's worth mentioning. Also worth mentioning is, and this is something that is probably unique to me, but if you have this problem, you can let me know in the comments sections, let others know, is that I have a problem with voice weakness. I mean, right now I can talk just fine, but most of the time, when I try to talk, what comes out is a whisper, and I try to project, and that comes out as a very unpleasant guttural sound. Now, you may be asking, well, how do you make videos if you have trouble talking? The answer is kind of simple. If I don't have my voice, I don't make videos. I usually make videos when I first get up in the morning when I have my voice, or maybe if I take a nap, then I have my voice, or maybe I will do some, and don't laugh when I say this, but I will sing along with Elvis. Put on my headset, pick out a good Elvis song because his range is pretty much my range, and that helps get my voice in shape. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Then I can make a video, but other than that, I can barely speak above a whisper. So somebody comes up to me and says, how you doing? I can't, it's bad enough that my brain is scrambled, but in addition to that, and sounding funny as a result, or strange as a result of that, I also have this problem of not being able to project. And then sometimes people find this really annoying, is when I can't project my voice, I tend to clear my voice, trying to clear my throat, rather, trying to get my voice, trying to feel it. And people find that terribly annoying. How do I know? Because they tell me. See those two rectangles on the screen? Let's keep talking if you want. We got a lot more to talk about. Just click on one of those two rectangles. The conversation will keep on going. If not, thanks for stopping by. And we'll see y'all next time.